Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. I hope everyone is doing well tonight. And we've got an imminent attack is going to happen somewhere, most likely Iran. But Cuba is saying that they have drones ready to strike in Florida or Gitmo or other American interests. We've got a lot going on around the world. Rhinos are falling domestically. Governments are being shaken to their core, like the Albanese government in Australia. We've got that and many other things to talk about, but what do? I play videos while people come in, settle in, get themselves a nice cup of coffee or a cold brouhaha or an adult beverage of your choice. And then what will we do? We will be like butter. There you go. Let me get him lined up. We'll be like butter and get on a roll.
Okay, we have it in our sight. Fire. Boom.
Dust on my Bible, flags on the line. You laughed at our warnings, called truth a crime. You sold us your secrets, wrapped up like hope. Signed all our futures with a poison note. You sat in your mansions, we prayed in the rain. You cast every favor on a ledger of pain. You thought you were covered, names on a list, private plain pages you swore don't exist. Tick-tock, time's up, game over, you're done. Thought you hid in the shadows, but we watched every run. You sold out your own people, every promise a lie. Now the truth hits different with the world looking right in your eyes. Tick-tock, time's up, game over, you lose. Treason don't pay well when the light cuts through. God on our side and he's right on time. When the judge walks in, every bell gon' chime. Game over. You thought she was certain, thought he was too. Shook hands in the back room, said they'll never break through. You mocked every farmer, every steel-toed boo. Called them crazy and bitter while you buried the proof. Now screens start flashing, whole names, young kids, whole world scrolling through the things y'all did. Digital soldiers from the cornfields to Rome say leave our children alone or we're taking you home. Let's go! Tick-tock, time's up, game over, you're done. Thought you hid in the shadows, but we watched every run. You sold out your own people, every promise a lie. Now the truth hits different with the world looking right in your eyes. Tick-tock, time's up, game over, you lose. Treason don't pay well when the light cuts through. God on our side and he's right on time. When the judge walks in, every bell gon' chime. Game over. From the back roads to the big tall towers, patriots worldwide, this the final hour. You can beg, you can bargain, you can scream, you can hide, but the book's been written and your name's inside. Tick-tock, time's up, game over, you're done. Thought you hid in the shadows, but we watched every run. You sold out your own people, every promise a lie. Now the truth hits different with the world looking right in your eyes. Tick-tock, time's up, game over, you lose. Treason don't pay well when the light cuts through. God on our side and he's right on time. Nothing's gonna stop what's already signed. Game over.
Storm zone.
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering what storm you're talking about.
They have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person.
that he's absolutely going to come back with full vengeance the next time around.
Now think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. Our Constitution really does give the president tremendous power to destroy. This will be something we could never have imagined.
Now the gloves are off.
Some of Trump's close political allies told him they are working on figuring out the identities of the FBI and DOJ staff and forming lists.
I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical DA and HE in America for their illegal, racist enforcement of the law. The deep state is destroying our nation, but the tables must turn and we will quickly destroy the deep state. We know where the bodies are buried. There are a lot of people out there that have done some very, very evil things, very bad things, I would say treasonous things against our country. People that have done such harm to our country. I've been looking at them for a long time.
He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he sees as enemies.
Put them all in jail where they belong. You gotta get tough and smart, and you have to fight fire with fire. You can't allow this to go on. And I will be the one to clean it up. I am your retribution. We will take care of it. We will take care of it.
Hi, folks. Thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate you all being here. Let's see if I can get through a stream without throwing a fit. I still don't have my chocolate and peanut butter. Daggone it, so I'm touchy, you know. But I'm just kidding. So anyway, let's see who all's here. Cole's here, Tammy's here, Todd's here, Sissy's here. Hello, everybody. Sherry, Linda, Lucky, Elva, nice to see you. Colette is here. Mac is here. Cynthia is here. Wow, we got everybody coming in. Flannel Cheese, nice to see you. we got the younger gang, right? Melinda's here. We got Tammy and Cole here. That's the younger gang. Rebecca's here. Nice to see you. I know. I try to keep in my memory banks everybody. And if I miss somebody, hi, Lucky. Oh, I did say hi, Lucky. There's Wayne. I know Wayne's giving me a thumbs up. I appreciate it, Wayne, very much. You all remember to give me a thumbs up. Helps the video get around. If you haven't done it, go on out there, do it, and come back in. We'll be here waiting for you. Waiting for ye, as they say in the mountains. So let's see, who did I miss? Did I miss anybody? I'm scrolling down the line. Rubber Toes here. Where's Miss Benderson? What's she cooking for us tonight? Oh, she'll pop in. I want cornbread. I don't want cinnamon rolls and chili tonight. I want cornbread with butter. Lots of butter. Who am I missing? Cole's here. Let me see. Robin, I got Robin already. Let's see. Oh, well, I got a lot of repeats. Robert, how you doing? Todd's here. Oh, somebody asking how they get the song. Somebody in the chats explain how to do a clip on YouTube. You can clip a little piece of anything in my video and save it in your device and share it. You can do that with a song too. There's Miss Mendersue. Who did I miss? Sparky's here. Explain in the chats how you can do a clip on YouTube after the video finishes uploading and the chats are visible. You can go review the chats. You can find my Buy Me a Coffee link in the chats. You can clip parts of the video and share them around. Right, Randy? Whoa, where'd they go? What did that one guy call me? Yosemite Sam or something like that? Who was that? I ain't seen him back yet. The rascal, that varmint. Better remember who Yosemite Sam was, what he thought about varmints. That's what we ought to call somebody. Hi, sweet daydreams. We got varmints. We're taking care of. Todd Blanche is after them varmints. And yeah, I had a little fit last night. I'll talk about that. Hey, because it wasn't not for nothing, okay? Not for nothing. I didn't even know anything was going on in the chats. Somebody said, I'm not going to call no names either because they're not here. Somebody's in the chat said, well, good night, so-and-so. And he says, yeah, I'm leaving. I said, okay, good night. And then scroll farther up and saw, I'm leaving because Laura Loomer is a boy and I'm not putting up with this stuff. I'm leaving and never coming back in my chats or something to that effect. And I've said for years, don't ever tell me that. You get to boot so fast and I don't need it. I don't need that kind of nonsense. Who takes time to type that in? Sarah Barnhart, I'm leaving. A big drama. Just go. But anyway, yeah, I had a fit over that. Sitting there trying to keep a thought straight. And I got somebody pulling nonsense in the chats. You know, I don't want to sound arrogant. Hi, Pappy Two Bears. Now, who all is my witness on this matter? How long ago was it when we were picking Kevin McCarthy to be in charge there on the House of Representatives, right? Speaker of the House. How long ago was that? Who was with me back then when I did not like Lauren Boebert's behaviors with Matt Gaetz? Who remembers me? I caught flack for that. I got a bunch of lip in comments. Lauren Boebert's a patriot. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I said the same thing about her. I said both of them. I didn't trust them because of the way they conducted themselves as married individuals. And the way they sit there and pose with sticking their rear ends out and holding an AR-15. Everybody said, oh, they're so cool. And I said, I don't trust them, and I keep your eye on them. And it's not a way for a representative to behave. Very, very disheartening. Remember that, folks? Well, boy, wasn't I right. Both of them, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert. I didn't watch this video. I ain't going to watch it. I don't want to hear nothing from her. Trump says he's washing his hands over. I'm washing my hands over. Representative Boebert explains support for both Trump and Massie. Well, you can't ride two horses, little girl. It's like trying to say you're half pregnant. It's one or the other, baby. And she stepped in it. And I saw it coming. And some of you people in the chats are my witnesses. Am I right or wrong? Am I right or wrong? Who remembers that? Yeah, Boebert's campaign for... Hi, Brett. How you doing? Cynthia, Laura Loomer is a boy. Yeah, it's just nonsense that was being talked about last night. That's black hat talking points that people latch on to, meant to make our movement look like it's full of kooks. Let me tell you something. Speaking of, what's her name? Laura Loomer. Laura Loomer. Here's a video. I'll go ahead and play it now. It's farther down the list. I was going to talk about it later. I'll do it now. I'm not crazy about that. What is that? Red hair or whatever that is. But, you know, women do stuff with their hair or whatever. You don't You never ask a woman how old she is or how much she weighs. You never do that. You don't look at her purse, okay, what they do with their makeup and all that stuff. Men, you stay out of it if you're smart. But anyway, there she is. This is a video I'm going to play. And she's making a point with a guest. People that are pushing that talking point that she's a boy, they're obviously not biologists. Look at her shoulders. Who was the guy that got in trouble with the Bud Light ad campaign? That creep. Okay, dresses like a girl. He's as scrawny as they come. And his shoulders are way wider than hers. There's a rule with female builds that their shoulders are very narrow. And if you can fit if you double the head size, that's the most you can put on their shoulders. Men, you can triple it. Triple their head size and their shoulders are that width. Women, it's two. Two heads equal one width of a shoulder. Look how skinny she is and little she is. But anyway, so yeah, I don't know why I'm wasting my time with that. It's called black hat talking points to make us look like lunatics, okay? And to tear apart our own movement. People in our own movement. It was like, what was her last name? Kirsten. She passed away. I showed you her last picture she posted of herself on a respirator. Kirsten W. What was her last name? People couldn't stand her, but she was on our side. You don't agree with everybody on everything. That doesn't mean you tear them down and attack them. She's exposing, last night it was those protesters at the White House that nobody else was covering. Anyway, here, you want to pay attention to this.
Knew that he had been speaking to another woman before you. You're talking about romantically, right? So this is pretty fast because we're talking August 30th, and you said that he reached out to you a week before then, right? So that would have been the third week of August, and his wife had only died a month and a half prior to that. How many women are we talking about that you at least know about that he had sexual relationships with
In the immediate.
She's talking about Massie. And she's interviewing the woman that said she was dating Massie, and Massie bragged to her that he slept with Lauren Boebert a week after his wife passed away. That's the kind of trash you're dealing with.
Immediate aftermath of his wife dying before you began your relationship 2 months after.
He didn't have an intimate relationship with the person that he had met from X. He had just talked to that person. I know there was an intimate relationship before me, though.
And do you know who that was with?
I know there's speculation. I just don't feel comfortable.
Did he ever tell you who it was with? Because I mean, if he told you who it was with, I mean, those are his words. Who did he say it was with?
A congresswoman.
Do we know who that congresswoman is?
Mm-hmm.
Who's the congresswoman?
Oh, it's Lauren.
Lauren Boebert?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Why would he tell you that he had a sexual relationship with Congresswoman Boebert?
Honestly, he was proud of it. Like, you know, he's like, oh, it's the hottest woman in Congress. And I don't know.
How does something like that come up? I mean, did you ask him about his previous sexual partners, or was he bragging about it? Like, how did he end up telling you that he had sexual relations with Lauren Boebert?
Honestly, it was kind of braggy, but hey, see, Thomas is just, it's hard to explain. Like I mean, I think we'll get into it more when we start talking about some of the things that made me feel a little bit uncomfortable. But I feel like, there's almost a tact that you would have when you're in a relationship with the person that you're with that was just kind of lacking there. So there was many situations where I felt uncomfortable, and it gets into way more.
Do you know when he had a sexual relationship with Congresswoman Boebert? Was this while he was married, or was this after his wife passed away?
It was after his wife passed away.
Do you know how long? Because I mean, you said that there were at least 2 women before you.
Yeah.
And you started talking to him in the 3rd week of August, and then on August 30th, Labor Day weekend, is when you guys met and I guess started dating, you said. So
yeah.
So, do you know how long after his wife died he engaged in sexual relations? Was he dating Lauren Boebert?
I don't know. You would have to go and look because I know she left abruptly to go to her son's court hearing. And so I'm sure somebody could do some digging and try and calculate, but it's not something that I've really ever cared too much to look into.
But he told you about it.
Yeah.
But it was more of like a fling. It wasn't so much of a relationship.
No.
Interesting.
I mean, that was not the impression I got. I don't want to, make a judgment based on the.
Well, no, I think it's important for people to know these things because you have Congresswoman Boebert campaigning for Thomas Massie, and now people understand that it's not just because she believes in his policies, but she apparently has had a sexual relationship with him, allegedly. You're saying that he told you this while you were dating?
That's what he told me, yeah.
That's what he told you?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't there, but that's what he told me.
So there you have it. Yes, he does get creepier by the day. He is a creep. And Lauren Boebert has got the judgment of an oyster, somebody who we can't depend on. She was behaving in a very nasty manner, in my opinion, with Matt Gaetz during the vote for who was going to be running the House, Speaker of the House. And I called her out then, and I got guff for it. But hey, I was right. And that's when I said something about Marjorie Taylor Greene, too. That I didn't like their behaviors. And I didn't trust them. You can tell a lot by a person, the way they behave in public. And there's something else that she posted up about. I'm looking for it. Lauren Boebert. She says in front of reporters, "Why is everybody so horny here?" I'll get to it when I get to it. I'll just keep going through stories. I see people coming in. Angela's here. Hi, Lori's here. Nice to see you. Yeah, Kirsten, she passed away. How you doing, you, Nita? I just call you you. Nice to meet you. Who did I miss? I saw somebody I didn't get to call out yet. BK, nice to see you. Judy, nice to see you. Bob's here. Ha. Giving us a wave. She's her parents hailed from Singapore. Captain Patriot, how you doing? All my lurkers, how are you doing, lurkers? Yeah, I don't know about her being a descendant of the Chinese elders. She's from Singapore. So anyway, Donald Trump posted a couple of clips from Greg Kelly that, I'll have to interrupt and talk a little bit during them. But like I said in the past, if Donald Trump posts it, we ought to pay attention to what it's there for. Now, as most of you know, Donald Trump put the brakes on an attack on Iran, which is supposed to happen tomorrow. And because I'll read his truth. But word on the street is, and you all probably seen reports of it, that the deal that they're working on is totally unacceptable to Donald Trump. So it's imminent. There's an attack imminent. Trump's tired of being jerked around. They're already starting a narrative that Donald Trump is trying to manipulate oil prices. That's coming out of some communist sources, which the mainstream media jumps right on. Diamond Silk put this up because, we got communist sources. They're everywhere. They're not just in China, Russia. They're right here in our country. Everybody knows that character on the screen. Joy Reid. They want to take us back to no income tax, no regulations, earn what you want. Family inherits everything. Yeah, Joy Reid, damn right. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be. But there she is. There she is, highlighted by Diamond and Silk, saying that there's something wrong with that philosophy. Right? This is the philosophy she ascribes to right here. Zohran Mamdani. Now, somebody put up a statue of a big middle finger. It's like 6 feet tall on a pedestal. So I guess the whole thing's like 10 or 12 feet tall, pointing right at Mamdani's house or office or whatever. So they're pulling a page out of the liberals' books with their balloons of Trump, statues making fun of Trump and stuff like that. Well, he's getting a big finger statue. But anyway, this is Mamdani. Study, work hard, and get a good job. And we will redistribute your money to someone who didn't. That's exactly right. They feather their nests. They keep themselves in power with their power bases. That's what I'm gonna start using the word socialism just so I don't get dinged too much, slowed down in the rhythm. But it's interchangeable, folks. It's the same thing. A communist is a socialist in a hurry. Remember that. A communist is a socialist in a hurry. They're the same thing. Look here, this guy here. I was going to use this as a thumbnail. I was going to get just his face in there. Senator Bill Cassidy loses his primary in Louisiana. I was just going to isolate him. This is somebody who's never had a job, never ran a business. How many years was he in the Senate? How many deals did he cut? Well, he's gone now. He's another rhino that's gone. And we got these closet rhinos that are getting flushed out, like Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's going to be in the same category as Liz Cheney. And so is Lauren Boebert. They played the game long enough, just long enough, where they felt comfortable and they started showing their true colors. Speaking of showing their true colors, and I highlighted her last night. I said, wait and see what's coming for this one. Stacey Abrams. Do you think she's on Ozempic? Is she on Ozempic, or is this a rubber face? Is this a rubber face? Been with me for a long time, know what a rubber face is. Not really the person. Like the rubber face Joe Biden versus the real Joe Biden? Or is she on Ozempic? Or has she lost her appetite because she knows what's coming? Was she laughing at Martha Stewart when Martha Stewart had to go to prison? How long did she go to prison? A couple of years? How long do you think these people are going to go? Maybe a decade? That'll make you lose your appetite real quick. But anyway, she's sounding the alarm. When these racist districts get wiped out, what they stand to lose. And I have said for years that there is a culture of people. Their only job is to daily cogitate, run numbers, be nosy, scheme and dream up ways to do exactly what they've done, which is magnify their power through chicanery and lawfare. And that curtain of Oz is going to fall. And we're going to see who's behind the curtain and who has been manipulating things. And we're going to see the American people, their will being enforced, not special interests and not district based on race. But here she is, crying the blues.
Your ability to use those same democratic institutions to your benefit. With these new maps, we know that analysis by Fair Fight and Black Voters Matter show that we could lose 19 to 20 congressional seats, but we could lose up to 191 state legislative seats. And in the South, those state legislators draw city council districts, county commission districts, school board districts, and they draw state legislative lines. And so if you want to know if your child is going to have fair and equitable access to education, that will be diminished if your families can't participate in elections and elect leaders who value your education. If you want health care in the South, it's the state legislature that decides whether you have access. All of the things that disproportionately harm communities of color will now be decided by people who disproportionately dislike and vote against the needs of people of color. But what we have to remember, and this is why I started the 10 Steps campaign, this is a national fight. It may start in the South, but it has national implications. Progress that serves the most disproportionately harmed communities lifts everyone. But if we do not do so, if we allow the suppression of black and brown votes, we are harming their neighbors and we're harming the U.S. And that's why we cannot allow the South to be left behind. We need national intervention because they are starting in the South. But this is a national attempt to misuse democratic institutions to suppress all of the communities who fight for democracy in this country.
Listen to that prattle. Just a bunch of Marxist prattle. People of color need health care. What, like they got up north? Like they got up north with wheelbarrows full of cash going to Somalia in luggage and zipped up in people's coats, billions of dollars being stolen? Well, we're tracking it down, and we're going to put a stop to it. Here's Zoran. Here's Zoran Mamdani. He's trying to pull a page out of Ronald Reagan's book. Ronald Reagan said the 9 most terrifying words you can hear is, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." Well, he's got his own version of what the 9 most terrifying words are. They've been lording over a fraudulent system that has been stealing tax dollars by the billions for years, driving up rent costs and home prices, which is out of reach. And now nobody can afford stuff. Oh, it's not the communist fault. It's not the regulators and the government bureaucrats that make it a damn nightmare. That it's not the bureaucrats that charge you taxes on everything you could dream of. Gasoline. If you have a vehicle, you never really own it. They come around every 6 months with their hand out. You owe them money for something you already bought and paid for. God help you if you fall behind, because they got confiscatory penalties and interest where they just take your property. That has nothing to do with it, right, Mamdani? And you got all the answers.
Of city-owned grocery stores, 1 in each borough. In these stores, prices will be cheaper. Workers will be paid fairly and treated with dignity. Going to the grocery store will no longer cause that same anxiety for so many New Yorkers. Now, on April 13th, we announced the first site, La Marqueta en el Barrio. And in doing so, honoring the legacy of Fiorella LaGuardia, who opened a site close to 100 years prior with the same mission of delivering cheaper goods to New Yorkers. Today, my friends, I am so proud to announce that the Bronx location will be here at the Peninsula. And New Yorkers will not need to wait long for costs to drop. This store will be the first of the 5 city-run grocery stores to open. Bronx residents will be able to begin shopping here next year. It is going to be a 20,000 square foot location, and its ambition is perfectly placed at the Peninsula, which will house 740 units of 100% affordable housing by the time that it's fully built. And as we heard from Jeannie, it'll be located on the site of the former Spofford Juvenile Detention Facility, somewhere that for so many years was synonymous with neglect and mistreatment. This was a place of failure, where young, predominantly low-income New Yorkers were subjected to brutal physical conditions, human rights violations, and physical abuse. We are reclaiming that same site to tell a very different story. This store, and the Peninsula as a whole, will serve as physical proof of our conviction that government can be a force for good, that government can drive change that improves people's lives. And standing here this morning, I cannot help but think of the words of our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. He famously said, "The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, 'I'm from the government and I'm here to help.'" It's a good quote, but I disagree. I think 9 more terrifying words are actually, "I worked all day and can't feed my family." We are going to use the power of government to lower prices and make it easier for New Yorkers to put food on the table. When government understands its purpose as serving the very working people that it has left behind time and again, it can make a difference.
When do you think any of that pack of clowns standing behind him worked all day? When do you think that ever happened? And I'd like to see in that crowd how many people probably don't even belong in this country in the first place. So, yeah, we're going to see he's going to be the greengrocer. The greengrocer. And he's never, what has he ever done in his life? What kind of job has he ever had? What kind of work has he ever done? Oh, by the way, I can't play more Spencer Pratt videos. Here we go. Within minutes after I got off the air last night, and I had smoke coming out of my ears, and I didn't have any chocolate or peanut butter or nothing, and I was in a bad mood. Within minutes, I got an email. My video's blocked in some territories, and this was last night's video. I said, "Oh, Jiminy Crickets." So I had to go into the little studio there and set it up to edit whatever the music was that was playing during some of these videos. So it slows it just shuts you down for a little bit until they straighten it out. I appreciate them keeping me out of trouble, though, with any conflict with copyright. But songs get snuck in there, and you're listening to the message. You don't really realize you're playing somebody else's song. But anyway, let me see what Donald Trump had to say. This is he had some interesting posts. In Maryland, they sent out 500 illegal mail-in ballots. Remember, Maryland, the Key Bridge, the deal that got shut down very suddenly to rebuild it. Charges against the operator of the barge, right? Wes Moore, what's going on with that? But anyway, they got caught, he said. So now they're going to send out 500,000 more mail-in ballots, but nobody knows what's happening with the first 500,000 they sent. In addition, many of these ballots went to Democrats. So any Republican running in Maryland doesn't have a chance. This was done by the corrupt governor of the state, Wes Moore. He allowed this to happen in order to make sure Democrats win. It never made sense to me that Maryland was considered an automatic Democrat state, but now I see why. I'm sure this has gone on for years. I'm going to ask the Attorney General of the United States and the Department of Justice to bring an immediate investigation into this situation. Hello, Hilarious 2. How you doing? Nice to see you. So, how many more people are going to lose weight like Stacey Abrams did? Lose weight. Because we got it all. We got all the evidence. This AI they've been touting that they used against us for years, that sword cuts both ways. We can get all their emails. We can get all their DMs. We can get everything because the internet is forever. Dems warned. Oh, this was Sky News Australia. Here we go again. You didn't see this on CBS. You didn't see this on NBC. You didn't see this on any of the Marxist mainstream American media, so-called American media. But Sky News Australia puts out J.D. Vance warns blue state officials could face prison time. Did you hear those words anywhere else? You don't need Ozempic when you hear that. You just lose your appetite. You say, what the hell is going to happen to me? When do birds sing? This is a good meme for you all to take a screenshot of. This war in Iran is very expensive, but not as expensive as the fraud in Minnesota and California. Ha ha ha. I just looked through the chats real quick. I should have a little bit of, hi, Sue. I should have a little bit of background music so people don't think the stream went dead. I hate dead air, when I'm listening to videos. So, but I do want to try to keep up with the chats a little bit. But I have to keep my train of thought. I didn't see what we were having for dinner tonight, whether we're going to be cornbread or not. But anyway. So, I saw somebody mention this person. Well, she had a, who's this fella? Oh, what's his name? I just had his name in my head. Anyway, he's a senator. Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name. Somebody will come up with it. Hi, Roland. How you doing? So they're talking about Ivor and then Mectin. See how I break that word up? Because I don't know if I still get in trouble over it. But if I'm playing something that is being said by a member of Congress or senator, Ron Johnson, thank you, Miss Mendersu. I got to give her some hearts for that. Because usually it's, where's Todd? Todd's my answer man. And then there's Miss Mendersu. But hey, Ron Johnson. I confuse him. Oh, Sandman got it too. How you doing, Sandman? There's some hearts. Yeah, let me see. But anyway, according to Ron Johnson, it could have stopped the whole thing. Now, they're easing this out to people. Todd said, yeah, well, Todd knows which state he's from, Wisconsin. They're easing this out to people that it was hidden and suppressed. It denied people readily available medication that could have saved lives. Do you think that's a crime? Do you think people are going to be in big trouble over this? Ron Johnson thinks so. I'm sure. I surely believe.
They lied about ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. They already knew. They did that on purpose to suppress a treatment that was cheap. It was available all over the world. There would have been no pandemic if everyone had just said use ivermectin and fenbendazole and a Z-Pack and take some vitamin D. It would have been over. No pandemic. They didn't need the mRNA
They
shot.
destroyed the careers of doctors and nurses who had the courage to treat patients. They destroyed their careers, and they didn't have to destroy too many before the rest of the medical profession said, yeah, I can't prescribe ivermectin for you.
Yeah.
To hospitals wouldn't allow it to be administered.
And those who did were punished, and they're still being punished. Yeah. There's still doctors today fighting for their licenses who've lost their practices, who've lost their careers. Still today, I met a woman on a plane whose mother has lost everything. As a concrete worker, she wouldn't take the vaccine. So this woman is now moving in with her daughter because her case has been dragging on for 4 or 5 years, and she's bankrupt.
I'm trying to see what Roland got first. I can't go that far back in the chats. That means we're going to have cinnamon buns instead of cornbread. Daggone it. But anyway, I'm just kidding. It's okay to like cinnamon buns. Nothing wrong with that. Anyway, Donald Trump had put up a lot of posts about the reflecting pool. And I didn't put them all up. I try to keep moving in the chats. In the stream and stuff like that. But he's obviously very excited and very proud of the reflecting pool. And it is going to look gorgeous. And he posted a video tonight that I went ahead and uploaded so I could play it for you all. I didn't get a chance to watch it yet. So we'll watch it together. And like I said, he put up a lot of posts that I didn't put up. And I hate to ignore an achievement by our president. And so I'll go ahead and play the video. Let's see what's up. Oh, I don't know if it's got music or not. We'll find out. My.
Ooh, beautiful reflecting pool in Washington, D.C. But in recent years, it's been neglected, and it's been really, really ugly, kind of swampy. People have found snakes in there. Kind of makes sense, right? Dirty, swampy, the swamp. Watch this piece of news going back a lot of years.
Then there's this. Folks snapping photos of the reflecting pool.
It's really sludgy up this end.
And what's in it?
It's disgusting. It's not right.
Algae.
It smells like wet dog down here, When my dog came home from a stream, he always smelled like this, so it's gross.
The Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool reopened at the end of August to great fanfare after a $34 million renovation that lasted nearly 2 years. But less than a month later, the famous pool of water is full of algae.
Oh, my gosh. And that was in 2012. Who was president back then? Obama. Now, look at this. President Trump says he can fix it. He knows it. I know he can. He's done similar things. Let's put that Truth Social up. He has promised to do it. He's done it before. This is kind of what, in a way, put President Trump on the map. It reminds me of the Woolman Rink situation. Anybody know the Woolman Rink? Yeah. President Trump fixed the Woolman Rink. The city was trying to do it for 15 years. President Trump did it in about 6 weeks. And Mayor Koch, who hated Donald Trump, had to give him credit. It was an amazing moment.
Donald, you performed a great public service.
Just right there. Koch did not want to say that, but to his credit, he did, because it was a great public service.
Boy, that looked like hell, did it? Looked like crap. But it ain't going to look that bad anymore. It's going to be one of many lasting legacies of Donald J. Trump. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do this video here. That was Greg Kelly, a report on the reflecting pool. This is the one Donald Trump posted that I'm going to do a little commentary on. But like I said, he posts things not for nothing, and we should pay attention to what's being said. And I'll go ahead and play it now.
Wow. Tina Peters, free at last. Have you been following this whole saga for her? boy, she was just a patriot. A 70-year-old Gold Star mother from Colorado who had grave concerns about the fairness of the 2020 election. That's not illegal, although they basically made it illegal. They infringed on her free speech. They weaponized. But listen to this. She's going to be free by June 1st. And the Democrat governor actually granted her clemency. You see, President Trump couldn't. This was a state conviction. President Trump was applying pressure. Believe me, if he weren't in the White House right now, she would not be, well, at the doorstep of freedom in just about 15 days. This is awesome, all right? Now, she was targeted. She was a county clerk. She had grave concerns about the fairness of the election. She wanted to investigate that election. However, you don't question certain things, right? They brought her up on all kinds of federal charges. I mean, they just got carried away. And she almost paid, well, she already did pay an enormous price. Already been incarcerated, money, the rest of it, her name being sullied all across the state of Colorado. And how sweet it is, right? Now, here's just a taste of what she went through. The dominant fake news media every step of the way. Because Tina Peters, I mean, a Republican in Colorado, I mean, talk about deplorable. Her son had to join the military. Just everything they think about us comes through when they talk about Tina Peters.
Tina Peters, the former Colorado County clerk convicted of orchestrating a security breach of her own election computer system in 2020 in service of the lies spread by Donald Trump and his allies over vote fraud, was sentenced to 9 years behind bars. Peters, who continues to promote the lies that voting machines were manipulated to steal the election from Donald Trump, faced some hard truths from the judge this afternoon.
Oh, yeah. Lies. Everything that they...
I think her reporting right there was criminal. The thing she said was criminal. And I'm looking in the chats. Yes, she was right. And she's going to be proven right. And, you know, you get angry when you say, this judge just gave her clemency. And in his little speech I played the other night, he said, she's still a convicted felon. You know what can change all that? You know what can change all that? And I think is what's going to happen? A new governor that gives her a complete and full pardon. And I hope she goes after the mainstream media and others that were involved. This is all part of an illegal psychological warfare campaign.
Everything is a lie. Everything is a lie. Do they know? What do they know? They know nothing. They sit at these desks and they just shoot things off. A lie. Now, you can have these concerns. You can investigate. She genuinely believes what she believes. And a lot of people agree with her. All right. The judge. This is what, you know, sometimes the worst things happen, but they set you up for something amazing. This guy got so out of control. And if he didn't, she wouldn't be on the doorstep of freedom, okay? Look at the way he talked to her.
There are many things in my mind that are crystal clear about this case. You are no hero, you abused your position, and you're a charlatan who used and is still using your prior position in office to peddle a snake oil that's been proven to be junk time and time again. In your world, it's all about you. But at bottom, this case was about your corrupt conduct and how no one is above the law. No one in this country has absolute power. Your position as a clerk and recorder, a constitutional position, does not provide you with a means by which to do your own investigation, to not listen to the judiciary, to not listen to the executives higher than you, to not listen to the legislature who sets the law as it may be. This is nonsense.
Proven by whom? Those 63 courts? I mean, who really looked into all of that stuff? I know for a fact that people voted in that election illegally. I mean, forget the machines. Just look at the Constitution of Pennsylvania. Just look at all the rules they just threw out. COVID! They used COVID as the excuse. Hey.
Yeah, I see there in the chats. Is Trump going to honor her? Yes, he will. Yes, he will. And Tina Peters will be one of many patriots that are going to be in future history books for children to learn about. How somebody had courage and they sacrificed. How this was a gold star mother who lost a son. And she was trying to preserve evidence to prove fraud, and they did everything to destroy her, to protect their corrupt selves. She's gonna be in the history books as a patriot. And I wouldn't be surprised if that judge doesn't get removed. This whole thing can flip. A new governor, this whole thing can flip.
Hey, how about this? A Democrat governor just set her free. Jared Polis, governor of Colorado, and he is a Democrat. And this is what he had to say. And I give him a lot of credit. Well, I don't agree with everything here. She committed the crime. She deserves to be a convicted felon. She was given an unusually harsh sentence. Yes, 9 years. Absolutely unusually harsh. So I'm glad he's seeing it the right way. President Trump was applying enormous pressure on the state. Oh, yeah, you want to give Tina Peters a hard time? Maybe we'll give the federal dollars you want for your woke environmental center to, I don't know, a better, more worthy cause in another state. See, all this stuff is happening because of him, and not only that he's there, but what he has done, right? I'll never forget. He didn't have to do this, but he did it. There were so many Republicans who wanted to move on from January 6th. He pardoned every single one of them, right? It was beautiful. There were like 4 that had to be addressed later, but 1,600 people walked free that very night, his first night back in the presidency.
First, we have a list of pardons and commutations relating to events that occurred on January 6, 2021.
Okay, and how many people is this?
I think this order will apply to approximately 1,500 people, sir.
So this is January 6th. These are the hostages. Approximately 1,500 for a pardon.
Yes.
Full pardon.
Full pardon or commutation?
Full pardon. We have about 6 commutations in there where we're doing further research. Nice to see you again. So this is a big one.
His very first night back in the presidency, prime time, signing the January 6th pardons. I love that man. What can I tell you? And they walked free that very night. Now, you and I know the truth about these guys. They were set up. And the 99.9% of them didn't hurt anybody, didn't break anything. And the 0.1% that may have got into fights with cops, well, nobody looks at how that they were attacked by the cops. And a lot of them fought back. And they threw horrible incendiary devices into the crowd of peacefully gathered people and set them off, right? That's, it's terrible. So nearly 1,600 people charged and convicted. Now, here's something else. A $1.7 billion compensation fund, potentially. It's being actively considered right now by the Trump administration. You know, he had sued the IRS for all the stuff that he had gone through, and there might be a compromise here. They're considering a $1.7 billion fund for the people who were persecuted unfairly, wrongly, criminally by the Biden administration, by Obama, by all kinds of things. And this is great. They deserve compensation. They deserve relief, redress, whatever. People like Enrique Tarrio. Enrique Tarrio, head of the Proud Boys, right? Didn't break anything, didn't hurt anybody. He had some thoughts, and he wrote those thoughts down. He didn't say, let's go kill everybody. He didn't say anything like that. You're allowed to think. You're allowed to say obnoxious stuff if you want in America, right? They went to his house and they arrested him. And they ultimately, sham trial, convicted, and sentenced him to 22 years in prison. Thank God he's out. But boy, he paid a big price, I think he deserves compensation. And we still need to know more about what really happened that day. Why did the cops just stand there? Anybody remember this? We haven't played this clip in a long time, but it's really interesting.
Why are you letting this happen? Why haven't you called for backup? Where is your backup? This is our damn Capitol building, and y'all are letting it get destroyed on your watch. All of you, call for backup. Get some help down here. And if they don't want to get you back up, they obviously don't give a about you.
Yeah, no, they're just gonna.
We got gobs of footage like that they think they've destroyed. Okay, they think they've destroyed. But the internet's forever. And Tina Peters had a spotless record. No prior convictions for anything. She was 70 years old. She's got cancer. And they gave her that outrageous sentence. It's criminal what these judges are doing. It's criminal what Khan did, and Kaplan and Goron. These weren't judicial acts. They were criminal acts. And to put Enrico Tarrio in jail and not think a thing of it for 22 years was a criminal act, in my opinion. And these rhinos that wanted to just move on and let Tina Peters rot in jail, let Enrico Tarrio rot in jail, let all these 570-some people that got set up rot in jail. Every one of them should be thrown the hell out of office. And that's what we're seeing. That's what we're doing right now. You're witnessing the destruction of the old guard, not only in America, but worldwide. Just ask the Albanese government in Australia. Just ask Keir Starmer. Just ask whoever that crowd is in Germany that's having hissy fits every day. They're all rattled. Their cages are all being rattled.
They're just going to stay on their coffee break, aren't they? They didn't move, those guys. Very strange, very strange. And you've seen this on this show, the little cop just waving people on, right? Let's see, the other cops just standing there as everybody comes through. And, you know, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. We need accountability for all this stuff. Too many Republicans hold their nose when it comes to January 6th stuff. They secretly hold these people in contempt, I believe. They are in awe of Capitol Police, right? Yeah, there they are, just standing there. Okie dokie. Something else that day, folks. When they walked away, when Ashley Babbitt was about to be killed. Why did these guys take a coffee break at that moment? See this? I want to know. Why don't we have national hearings on this? I mean, real January 6 hearings. We had fake January 6 hearings in prime time 2 years after January 6, 2021. I don't know, folks. It's great that President Trump is there, and it's great that there are so many patriots in the administration, but some of this stuff is being slow-walked. Hey, we're in a great place right now. This $1.7 billion, Ashley Babbitt killed by Byrd. Byrd, I hear, is still working for the federal government. That's not right. They lied. This was the worst thing that ever happened, right? This guy with the podium. This is the assault on democracy. This is Big O. Big O. Big O with his feet up on his desk. Nancy Pelosi's desk. How could we have such a thing? Oh, my goodness gracious. Never. This was right up there with 9/11. Remember when they said that? One of the most offensive speeches in the history of speeches.
Dates that occupy not only a place on our calendars, but a place in our collective memory. December 7th, 1941. September 11th, 2001. And January 6th, 2021.
Well, that's corruption right there. You kidding me? On government property, she made this ludicrous case. September 11th, 9/11, right up there with, let me go, yeah, right, just exactly the same thing as January 6th. Are you crazy? You are crazy. She's a crazy lady. And listen to this person tell ghost stories about America.
The defeated former president of the United States watched it all happen as he sat in the comfort of the private dining room next to the Oval Office, While he was doing that, brave law enforcement officers were subject to the medieval hell for 3 hours, dripping in blood, surrounded by carnage. Face to face with crazed mob.
Oh, my goodness gracious. That will give kids nightmares. Look, people paid a real price, and they're suffering. You want to talk about PTSD? How does the family of Chris Cooney feel? Chris Cooney, there he is on January 6th. He was afraid of Antifa, right? A Marine who had never committed a crime in his life. The only thing he did on January 6th, he was inside the Capitol for about 5 minutes. He saw one guy smoking a joint. He said, don't do that here. This is the Capitol. Picked up some trash and left. And they sent the FBI SWAT team to get him.
You gotta go. Move it. I'll tell you when you bring him in. Yep.
See that woman with the baby? That's Chris Cooney's wife. She has a miscarriage the next day. And, you know, the FBI SWAT team coming into your house, I could see that bringing on a miscarriage. This is the craziest thing ever. This is a crime that the FBI committed. And, you know, like the people still, more people need to be in jail for this. Rex Hoyerman, the Gilgo Beach killer. And I don't care. I pointed this out before. I guess I haven't pointed it out enough. There's nobody who put the January 6ers through hell in jail right now. I don't think there's anybody even indicted right now. Comey, well, he was even out of government before January 6th. He doesn't count. This serial killer, when they arrested him, they were gentlemen. Here he is. You're about to see the serial killer. One of the most notorious serial killers in American history is about to be arrested. And, oh, by the way, he owns 300 guns, so they don't know what to expect necessarily. But they're professional cops, and they know how to take care of this situation. In suits, discreetly, they approach him on the street and put him in cuffs and put him in a cop car. That's the way professionals do it when they're not trying to make some sort of political point. They do it safely, they do it efficiently, they do it effectively. But when you're trying to besmirch a president, a movement, MAGA, you send in the SWAT team. So, oh, look at what we had to do with these crazy January 6 people. They were such a threat to democracy. Optics. And the FBI they actively participated in all this stuff. Anytime anybody gives a Kash Patel a hard time about anything, think about this. The FBI must be cleaned up from top to bottom. I still say Kash is the guy to do it.
I played you that video where James Comey said there were hundreds of FBI agents, sleeper cells, you might as well say, that were lying low, waiting for Trump to leave, and they would rise up again. Criminals with badges. This is another clip Trump posted. It's a short, I'm not sure if it continues past this, what I just played, but we'll go ahead and play to see what's going on.
All right, a couple more things. Back to January 20th of 2025, President Trump did this, right? He set the stage for this potential compensation fund, writing that executive order, issuing the pardons, great stuff. And I like to point out from time to time, as President Trump told me, every now and then, Greg, you gotta blow your own horn or else somebody will steal your horn. We helped. And we helped President Trump because sometimes, you want to make sure the president is getting all the information.
No one has spoken as boldly and with as much truth as you about Ashley Babbitt. It was a bad shooting. My father can tell you that. Anybody.
It's a terrible thing.
I don't know if you know this, but the Department of Justice right now is still kind of fighting that case. The family of Ashley Babbitt is suing the government, wrongful death. The DOJ right now officially is still opposing that lawsuit, trying to justify it. Shouldn't that be something that can just be settled at this point?
Well, I'll look into that. I mean, you're just telling me that for the first time. I haven't heard that. I'm a big fan of Ashley Babbitt, okay? And Ashley Babbitt was a really good person who was a big MAGA fan, Trump fan, and she was innocently standing there They even say trying to sort of hold back the crowd. And a man did something to her that was unthinkable when he shot her. And I think it's a disgrace. I'm going to look into that. I did not know that.
He sure did look into it. And a matter of weeks later, a settlement was reached with the estate of Ashley Babbitt for nearly $5 million. Awesome. Now, we also asked President Trump about maybe a compensation fund for all the other January 6ers, right? And now here we are, right? This is being actively discussed and considered, and we were part of the, the conversation to make this happen. I'm kind of proud of that, actually. Here we are. I do want to talk about something else, though, that kind of escaped my scan, all right? Have you heard of Matthew Perna? Here's Matthew Perna in happier times, right? Great guy, beloved by his family, community. Now, he was there on January 6th. He didn't hurt anybody, all right? And they threw the book at him. They treated him like a terrorist. Ultimately, he committed suicide. And I have come to believe that he is a real victim in all of this. You know, they say the January 6 cops who committed suicide. I don't buy it. So his aunt put a tweet up today that got my attention. Oh, wait, I thought Michael Fanone suffered these injuries on January 6, according to his many appearances on CNN. A heart attack, a concussion, post-traumatic stress, burns, loss of consciousness, multiple taser injuries, blah, 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 blah. This is just one component of the story that Jerry Perna, his aunt, reminded me about. Michael Fanone. This guy is out there still being treated as a hero. If we could see his picture, please. There he is. Yet he lied, and we have incontrovertible evidence that he did. And he's still walking around a free man. This guy needs to be arrested. And so do those other Capitol Hill cops, some who testified, even some who didn't. This was a conspiracy. This was a plot to destroy a political movement, and in the process, they destroyed a lot of lives.
Michael Fanone. I played a video of him, I don't know how many times, saying he wanted Trump to have a stroke. An obnoxious individual. And that young man that took his own life, it's like, what's her name said? Kamala Harris. She can ruin a life with a stroke of the pen. They can't afford it. They're already ruined just from being charged. They can't afford to defend themselves. And they know what they're doing. So, Donald Trump put that on his Truth Social. It's coming out. And who's going to stop it? Nobody. Nobody's going to stop it. You know, we're dealing with these lunatics that are fan girls or boys or whatever of this creature right here. This coward. This person who should be on the same schedule as Timothy McVeigh was on. Tried, convicted, and punishment carried out within the same time frame. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of this evidence that's being excluded, but I do know it's from his backpack. They say it was an illegal search of his backpack, but they are going to allow the actual gun in. And his journal. And so I don't think it's as severe a blow to the prosecution as it could be. But these people that are fans, I think we can all concur that anybody with social media supporting this individual, social media that called for the elimination of Donald Trump, and any other number of things, if they have social media showing them behaving this way, it should exclude them from teaching positions, nursing positions, certainly from any government positions. I think that's coming. I think that's coming. They forfeited their right, their ability to be in positions of public trust with that kind of behavior. Here they are outside of the courthouse with Luigi inside.
I said what I said. I don't give a fuck. His children are better off without him. They need to learn to not be like their dad and enjoy the blood money, kids.
What was that? I didn't get that, what you said.
That's a member of the press. They're talking about the victim. Well, I think we're better off without him. This one of the blue shirts said he's dead. He's dead. I don't give a F. Talking about the victim. They're Luigi groupies. And no, they should not be even allowed to broadcast on our airwaves.
Fuck Brian Thompson. I don't give a flying fuck he died. Millions of Americans. I liked it. Millions of Americans suffer every single day from the lack of negligence when it comes to United Healthcare. We had a literal infant named Isela who, because of how negligent her health insurance was, she died. An infant died. So if you guys are okay with someone like Brian Thompson being around and that being a part of our society, that says more about you as a person, because you look absolutely monstrous defending someone like that who participates in social murder. That's what we mass social murder. He's responsible for more deaths than Osama bin Laden, and I remember Americans celebrating when Osama bin Laden was killed. It's not like we don't understand heroic violence or like when violence is good. That's like as America gets. I mean, why do we protect the Second Amendment so much? Is it to allow people to shoot up schools, or is it for us to protect our democracy? I think it's to protect our democracy. It's not saying, we should all take up arms, but when your democracy is eroded and there's no other option.
Now they rationalize violence against people they don't even know. Oh, he was a healthcare executive and he was negligent. So he's responsible for everybody that has diabetes and passes away. Everything is all his fault. So he can go up behind him like a coward and take his life. Here's these three ninnies again. This is from the Washington Post.
A trio of bloodthirsty women, big fans of Luigi Mangione, and somehow granted press passes by City Hall. Here they are camped out outside the courthouse. Now, why? The backdrop for their appearance? Today was an evidence suppression hearing for the accused United Healthcare CEO killer, during which the judge handed prosecutors a pretty big victory in granting Luigi Mangione's bid to suppress some of the evidence at his murder trial. Here's what the judge had to say. The evidence found during the search of the backpack at McDonald's must be suppressed. That included the magazine, cell phone, passport, wallet, and computer chip. But all the evidence gathered at the police station is still admissible, and that includes the 3D printed gun, the silencer, importantly, the red notebook, the quote-unquote manifesto. All that's still on the table. But let's get back to the sickness, the ugliness outside the courtroom, because it's profane, it's vulgar, it's actually something to hard.
I said Washington Post, New York Post is what they got the article there. Sorry about that. But anyway, yeah, part and parcel of what's going on is lunatics like these three.
For us to imagine walking around as normal citizens in America, interacting with our fellow citizens, thinking exists this kind of sickness. Those three aforementioned ladies, the fans of Luigi Mangione. You have Ashley Rojas, for one, who had this message outside the hearing. I wish I could play for the video because the tone, the confidence, the certainty, the flippancy of these women's comments is just as important as the actual words. But let those words linger on the screen before I read them to you. Ashley Rojas said, F Brian Thompson. She, of course, didn't censor herself. She said, that's all I want to say. I stand on business. F. Brian Thompson. F. his mom. Another, perhaps the most obnoxious, and now I've set the bar pretty high, but the most obnoxious, named Lena Weisbrot, had this to say. His children are better off without him. They need to learn not to be like their dad. And by the way, enjoy the blood money, kids. He's responsible for more deaths than Osama bin Laden. And I remember Americans celebrating when Osama bin Laden was killed. It's not like we don't understand heroic violence or like when violence is good. If I'd had this video, I would want to play all 90 seconds for you, uninterrupted. And I know that some of you would have said to me, why play that? That's gross. I don't want to see that. I want to hear that. But I think you should. I think you should read those words on the screen. I think you should know that this walks amongst you. This dress is in colorful hair. Black and white, green and black, purple and black stripes. Fancy. This is dressed like a 40s flapper girl. This is dressed like people who think that they're cool. Walk around thinking they're normal. And walk around thinking you are the one who's insane. They have sanctioned murder. They're bloodthirsty. They ask for it. They sanction it. They glorify murder. And this is where we are. The only real question, I think, for you and the only real question for me is to say, what do we do with fellow citizens who have gotten to this place in their mind? And if that's not enough for you, I've got this. How about a wild teen takeover? This time at a...
Yeah, so it's supposed to be freedom of speech. They were raised in a school system that's been co-opted by Marxists. And, of course, they're going to go down that road of justifying violence. They think we're on stolen land. And they expect free grocery stores. And anybody who makes a profit from the fruits of their labor is evil. Is evil. Everybody should work for the collective. But they just stand around and run their mouths. They can't do anything. They can't drive a nail. They can't produce anything. But they expect others to do it for them. They want to enslave us with their philosophy. And since we're going down this road of twisted laws and logic and justified violence, this guy called Chud the Builder, I don't have a picture of him. I didn't even know who he was. I heard some kind of controversy about him, and I saw a few minutes of one of his live streams. And I said, oh, it's another guy like Johnny Smalley or this Vitali guy that was going around and doing nuisance streams. They do all kinds of stuff to get views, and people in the chats say, why don't you go up and do this? Or why don't you throw an egg at somebody? Or why don't you? And they do it for chat money. I didn't know what he was doing. I saw he was getting involved in conflicts and a lot of hubbub. And I said, oh, he's wearing his Sanchez mustache and a straw hat. That's his brand, Chud the Builder. So I just thought, well, he's just another guy going out here stirring up trouble for live stream clicks and views. And I didn't think any more of it. Well, it's much more serious than that. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. If somebody says something to you, does that give you the right to attack that person and beat them senseless and even take their life, and they have no right to defend themselves? Are there certain words that you can't say that other people can say? And if you say them and you happen to be light-skinned, does that mean it's open season? These are the questions that are going to be asked during this trial. The worst suppositions are already floating around. And the so-called victim is already being glorified. A veteran. You know, I have a special place in my anger portfolio for people who take the fact they're a veteran and shove it in your face to, first of all, make you say, thank you for your service, and automatically take the high road in a debate that they're more right than you because they're a veteran. And most of the times you find out that their service is exaggerated or they had been dishonorably discharged, or they were nothing more than a potato peeler that didn't even graduate high school. Well, in this case, this so-called veteran that dared this Chud guy to say certain words, which he did, gave him the right to attack and beat this person on the ground with impunity. So what's next if its words are enough to provoke violence, justified violence in the eyes of idiots like we just saw? What's next? A perceived look? You gave somebody a look they didn't like? Are certain parts of our society supposed to walk with their eyes down and their shoulders hunched up and not say a word? Or get beaten? Now, this guy had a chip on his shoulder, this Chud guy. I didn't know that. I didn't know anything about it. But he lost his job and became damn near destitute because somebody accused him of a racial slur. I don't know the whole story behind it. So I ended up making it a career model, I guess, I don't know, to go out and live stream and, according to him, exercise his First Amendment. And so anyway, I don't know all the details. I didn't like watching the live streams. I had no interest in them. I don't like what we used to call them shock jocks. They would get on the radio and say outrageous things and do. I didn't like Howard Stern. I take some of these streamers and I put them in the same bucket, but in a more modernized sense. You know, we don't have radio jocks anymore. We have internet personalities. So I looked at him and I couldn't really hear the conversations. Most of the words were being bleeped out. I don't like foul language, especially in public. And I said, well, this guy's stirring up crap, trying to get clicks and views. I don't care for that. So I'm not taking his side. But I am saying this, when it gets down to the day, when you have people like those three creatures celebrating the murder of a person walking down the street by a coward who shot him in the back, and when you have people making a hero out of somebody who crossed the street to beat on somebody, a veteran with a criminal record, and say, well, this man didn't have a right to defend himself. We're going down a bad road. So we're going to pay attention to this Chud guy. You know, my personal opinion, before any of this happened, would be to clean up your mouth. Don't be using foul language on streaming on you all have heard me enough, about that, especially sites kids go on. That we have a filthy mouth society with low standards, and the internet's got a lot to do with it. I still believe that. But now, wait a minute, are we going to have a society where it's okay for some people and others, they could actually lose their lives or spend their whole life in jail just because of the color of the skin? So we're going to pay attention to it, and we're going to get all the facts. We're going to get all the facts. And the internet is going to be documenting for us people we don't want to be associated with. And I think that's going to play a big role in our society's future. And the repercussions of that are going to change behaviors. It's going to change behaviors. Because if all you can do is put the fries in a bag because you went on the internet and you promoted violence, you promoted the notion of assassinating the president and things like that, and you end up restricted to all you can do is DoorDash and the fry station at McDonald's, you'll think twice before you do that. And Andy No, as usual, puts up stuff, and I haven't put up some of his stuff in a while. But hey, stuff like this has got to be spread around. Police in the Portland area have been uncovering what appears to be a P3DO trafficking ring that operated in southwest Washington state. At least one victim was allegedly brought over for nudie sleepovers where the abuse happened. Dr. Michael Wilmington, a pediatrician working for Kaiser Permanente in Vancouver, Washington, was revealed to be part of the investigation. He took his own life. There he is. I guess this is him. There you go. Authorities allege Anna Hartley provided a child to Dr. Wilmington and her husband. Oh, I'm sorry. Michael Wilmington, a pediatrician. I'm trying to keep this straight. Chad Hartley. Chad Hartley worked for medical group Peace Health, where he had access to children as young as newborn. He told his investigators it was clothing optional. The accused PD3O files allegedly met through a man named William Snyderwine, who invited them to nude bowling events. I had a friend who said he was going to make a fortune. I said, how? He said, all you can eat oatmeal and nude bowling. Of course, he was joking because you would lose your backside on that, but it was a joke he would tell. But apparently, at least half of it is a thing. And these nude bowling events was where one of the known child victims attended. All three suspects have been charged. The case has parallels to the case in Bellingham, Washington, against naked bike ride leader Zachary Robertson, who was charged with child S3X crimes. He organized clothing optional biking events. How we allow as a society. Here's another shot. Right where you belong. Boy, aren't you going to have a good time. Aren't you going to have a good time for the next 30 years, 20 years, however long you're going down the damn road? So anyway, these creatures are being rounded up, and their groups are being discovered. Uncovered. Here. Andy No again. Whoa. Portland, Oregon. You know, I caught some flack years ago, about, I guess 2 years, maybe 3 years ago. I said, watch out for these furries. And I showed a person who was a furry, who was doing videos on a platform meant for kids and was discussing, I hate to even bring it up. But anyway, they're pets, okay? They're dog, this person. And that person was a veteran, by the way. Portland, Oregon, a furry group called Animal Dance PDX is hosting an all-ages fetish and kink dance party at Wonderlove on May 21st. The event's website says alcohol will be served and all photographic or video recordings by investigators and journalists are banned. The event allows kink-related gear to be worn over fur suits. There was a time when people dressing up as different animals and cosplaying as anime or gamer characters. You know, it was fun. It was creative. People really worked hard on their costumes. took what they did seriously, but it was focused on young people, and that attracts the PD30 files like flies. And it's just a matter of time before they infiltrate it and destroy it. Just like story time at the library. When I looked at one of these things about Luigi Mangione, I put a comment in that you don't want a world where anything goes, anarchy. And it got taken down. I was a little rougher than that. But anyway, here somebody is reprinting the 8647 thing by Comey. And I put in the comments that it was TDS prattle, lunatic prattle. And so this Michelle called it Trump devotion syndrome is a rough one. See how they try to spin it? After Trump said TDS is a real illness, Trump derangement syndrome. Oh, now they call it Trump devotion syndrome. I said, nice try, nice fail. Here's the bottom line, folks. They want open borders, tranny teachers, rampant obvious fraud, little ones being muta and elated, and on and on. Make loony bins a thing again, ash heap of history. And usually when it's somebody named Michelle, I tell them to go pet their cats. But I didn't do this time because I think that's been flagged. It gets taken down. So I left the go pet your cats out of it. Anyway, go drink your box wine and pet your cat. Here we have President Trump. He put this up earlier today. I've been asked by the Emir of Qatar, Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud, and the President of the United Arab Emirates, Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, to hold off on our planned military attack on the Islamic Republic of Iran. Wait a minute. All three of those countries are the ones who welcomed him twice. With royal welcomes and did a sword dance. Okay? These are the three countries. It was scheduled for tomorrow, in that serious negotiations are now taking place, and that, in their opinion, as great leaders and allies, a deal will be made, which will be very acceptable to the United States of America, as well as all countries in the Middle East and beyond. This deal will include, importantly, no nuclear weapons for Iran. Based on my respect for the above-mentioned leaders, I have instructed Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Daniel Kane, and the United States military that we will not be doing the scheduled attack of Iran tomorrow, but have further instructed them to be prepared to go forward with a full, large-scale assault on Iran on a moment's notice in the event that an acceptable deal is not reached. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Now, I have heard that he reviewed the so-called deal and he's not happy. Now, somebody's either scrambling to make him happy or something's going to hit the fan. Something's going to hit the fan. And you know what? There might be multiple things hitting the fan. We might see something happening with Cuba. Is this Cuba? Yeah. Report says Cuba acquired 300 military drones. We know those drones are small, relatively speaking, but they can do some damage, and they're lethal. Axios reports that classified intelligence shared with officials alleged Cuba obtained more than 300 military drones and explored possible attacks on U.S. assets. The claims are expected to intensify scrutiny over security threats that could fuel debate over possible U.S. responses. Now, I have heard that they publicly stated that areas in South Florida would be their targets, civilian targets, and military base, particularly Guantanamo. And is that going to be enough for us to do something preemptively? Do we have intelligence that confirms that they did get 300 attack drones? Anyway, here's a brief video about the Axios report.
For a potential Cuban drone attack threat. Axios writing, quote, Cuba has acquired more than 300 military drones and recently began discussing plans to use them to attack the U.S. base at Guantanamo Bay, U.S. military vessels, and possibly Key West. But Cuba's foreign minister is denying the claims, writing, without any legitimate excuse whatsoever, the U.S. government builds day after day a fundamental case to justify the ruthless economic war against the Cuban people. Cuba neither threatens nor desires war. This comes as sources tell Fox that the U.S. is preparing to indict former Cuban leader Raul Castro. The CDC is escalating its response to the ongoing Ebola outbreak.
Yeah, the Ebola outbreak. We're going to get into that too. Boy, that's funny how that happens right around consequential elections now, isn't it? By the way, I haven't said it through the whole video, but I did put links to buy me a coffee at the 1 hour mark in the chats, and I'm putting a link in right now, and I want to thank Wayne and Mike and Beth for helping out with Buy Me a Coffee this week. I do appreciate it so much. I'd love to do my booms in a minute after I put this link in the chats at the 140 mark. And I will put some booms. Let's see. Wayne, come. Where'd my boom go? They're supposed to be preloaded. But anyway, Wayne and Mike and Bev, I appreciate it. I should put my postage check. Here we go. Kapow! Kaboom! I should put my postage stamp, but boom, for people who are watching on the big screen. I know Mike and Bev watching the big screen all the time, but I appreciate it. Keep me from getting skunked this week. Kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. I do appreciate it. This is a totally viewer-supported channel. That's why there's no commercials when you're sitting here watching, annoying you and interrupting you. Oh, here's another meme for you to put up on your... Maybe make it, put it on your main, what do they call it? Your main page on your Facebook. There you go. How to pee off liberals. Ha ha ha. Donald J. Trump. Look at that golden bed, golden frames, everything around. That's how you make them mad. Success angers them. If they see you're comfortable, happy, that you practice a faith that gives you strength. Boy, that really burns them up. That really burns them up, don't you know? Speaking of faith that gives you strength, here's Tulsi Gabbard. And I am surprised that we haven't heard a statement yet about what happened with her office being raided by the FBI. Have you all heard any more details about that? Remember, the CIA is not supposed to operate on domestic soil. Okay? Is my supposition correct that a rogue judge approved the CIA to break the law and raid the offices of Tulsi Gabbard? Is there a gag order under the FISA laws and rules that prohibit anyone from disclosing how this happened? And is this possible judge going to face serious repercussions from it? What do we do when the civilian system cannot operate in the manner of which it was intended, and they threaten national security and the safety and security of Americans? What happens? Well, the military is the only way. But anyway, Tulsi Gabbard had a message. I thought it was going to be about that, but it's not. It's about faith. It's about the rededication and celebration that Donald Trump attended yesterday. And I thought it would be a good way to close this broadcast. And what do I always say, folks? I always say, thank you for spending your precious time with me. And I should be going live. Well, if you're subscribed and hit the notification bell, you'll know when I go live now, won't you? So why don't you do that? And give me a thumbs up while you're thinking about it on the way out. And again, thank you, Wayne and Mike and Bev, for helping me out with Buy Me a Coffee. I hope you all have a great night. Enjoy this video. This is Mountain Man, over and out.
250 years ago today, on May 17, 1776, the Second Continental Congress called for a day of humility, fasting, and prayer. Just weeks before they declared independence, our founders didn't stride forward in pride. They knelt. They asked for God's mercy. They asked for his guidance because they knew that the cause before them was beyond their own strength. Now today, exactly 250 years later, we gather here on the National Mall to do the same, to give thanks, to ask for forgiveness, and to humbly ask once more for God's mercy and guidance as we enter the next 250 years of this republic. Now, our founders knew their time was short. They knew that the road ahead was uncertain. The foundation of our independence is our dependence upon the Supreme Soul, who's the Supreme Controller. Now, all of us and all of our leaders need to get on our knees and prostrate ourselves before the Supreme Lord, acknowledging that we are totally dependent upon him for our success, indeed, for our survival. Too often leaders in this world have our eyes covered by pride born out of our relative power, fame, or authority. We lose sight of the fact that we are tiny and our time on this planet is extremely short. And yet we see ourselves as the controllers competing with each other over who is number one. But the truth is, there's only one number one, and that's God. Our leaders 250 years ago knew this. They knew that we could not rely on our own strength, our own fame, our own power, our own intelligence, but we're completely dependent upon God's favor. And so they humbly approached that day of fasting 250 years ago, asking God for his protection, his guidance, his mercy. We are at this time totally dependent upon God to light our path so that we can successfully navigate the troubled waters that we are in into a future where our children and their children and generations for hundreds and thousands of years can live in peace, freedom, and prosperity. So on this day, let us humble ourselves before God. Let us beg for his mercy and guidance. Let us be willing to forgive those who've offended us as we ask God to forgive us for our trespasses. And let us all today, in the privacy of our own homes and hearts, take shelter in God's love and remember him. Aloha.